It's a pleasure to be with you on a Wednesday evening, although I have to say that it's sad to see the result in Alabama last night, although Ann Coulter admits in her latest column, as she reminds everybody that the Republican Party does not hang on her every word, that she was actually secretly hoping for Judge Roy Moore to fail in last night's election, weren't you?
Yes, that was a bitter complaint that they don't hang on my every word. And although I probably would have voted for him, I mean, it's good that it was close because I think the charges against him were outrageous and nonsense. Something that I did write about. I don't like to see even people I don't think are ideal candidates falsely charged and smeared and accused of pedophilia, which was so preposterous. But I waited for the polls to close. I have many people who could sign an affidavit saying that I kept telling everyone he's going to lose, and that's fine. It's actually better for us, but I don't want to say that before the election because I don't want to hurt him. It would have been funny if Moore had won, but it should have been Mo Brooks, the candidate I endorsed in the primary, and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell spent millions of dollars attacking in the primary. Utterly respectable. Look him up right now. Very impressive person. He's been in Congress. He's a lawyer. Has a perfectly impressive career. But he happens to be fantastic on immigration, much like Sessions has been in the Senate. Mo Brooks was one of the leaders of immigration restriction in the House of Representatives. So, of course, all patriots would support him. But no. Mitch McConnell wanted to make sure his donors keep getting their cheap labor, and advised by the able Jared Kushner, Donald Trump endorsed Luther Strange, the Mitch McConnell's candidate, who, of course, went down. Well, then we were just left with Roy Moore or Luther Strange. And I'm kind of yelling at everyone involved. I mean, you can't really blame Bannon. He was still in the White House at the time of the first primary with Luther Strange, establishment shill.
But shouldn't, I'm talking to Ann Coulter, who's the syndicated columnist and the best-selling author most recently of In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. Shouldn't Bannon at that point have been advising the president, this is your guy on your signature issue, Mr. President. He's where you want to be on immigration issues, even though he's running counter to Mitch McConnell, who is not on your...
He did. I mean, I don't know what his counsel is, but I know I have a pretty good guess what Stephen Miller and Julia Hahn's counsel was.
Yeah.
You can blindfold me, and I can guess at that one. But Jared Kushner, I mean, this is acknowledged that in addition to the fantastic advice that Trump should fire Comey, Jared told him, no, we have to go with the establishment candidate. And Mitch McConnell did spend millions of dollars. Why isn't Trump telling him, no, Mo Brooks is my guy. He's the only one who's going to support my agenda. So they totally screwed the pooch, and this is what we ended up with. So I don't think it's such a bad thing. I mean, Roy Moore, I don't want to be unkind, but he wasn't my kind of candidate. He didn't even know what DACA was. The Dreamer Act. When asked back in 2006, I spent an hour on Nexus last night seeing, did Roy Moore ever say anything about immigration, about anchor babies, about a wall, about chain migration, about Dreamers? No, in 2006 he was asked, what do you think about George Bush's proposal to put the National Guard on the border, which is a stupid idea, but I guess it's better to say yes than no. He said yes, and we ought to have something permanent like a fence. So, okay, when asked, he did give the right answer. But so my larger attack here in this week's column is these politicians have got to wake up. I mean, the voters have woken up. How many different ways can voters tell politicians we want a whole lot less immigration? And we don't care about the Access Hollywood tape or fat shaming or anything else if you just promise to give us a lot less immigration. From Proposition 187 back in California in 1996, I write about it in Adios America. Don't believe the claims that it was bad for Republicans. It was great for Republicans. P. Wilson won. He was way down in the polls that year. You want a spectacular comeback by supporting Proposition 187. That would deny government services to illegal aliens. Through a sleazy move, a court overturned it, and then Gray Davis didn't challenge it, but that's another story. So we have Proposition 187. We have Eric Cantor losing to David Bratt. We have the American people shutting down, 3 attempts at amnesty being snuck through in the dead of night by Democrats and Republicans working together. We have the election of Donald Trump. So, this sort of scattershot approach to I'm an insurgent, I'm anti-establishment, I'm running against Mitch McConnell. No, that isn't a winning issue. Being Mitch McConnell isn't a winning issue. Being against immigration, winning issue.
Yeah.
Republicans have to wake up or Trump is going to be wiped out in the midterms. And the second Democrats have a majority in the House and the Senate, Trump's going to be impeached and removed. They're champing at the bit for that. And Trump better wake up. Right now, how is his administration different from that of any Republican other than that he has the wise counsel of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump?
And that's the other thing. He's not been afraid to leave that wise counsel behind. You know what Jared Kushner and his wife Ivanka were saying to the president about the Paris Climate Accord. They're saying
he disagreed with them on. Oh my gosh, something that was a huge part of his campaign. Can you imagine if he had capitulated to the globalist global warming fanatics?
Well, that's why it floors me that he would go the wrong direction on this, just because Kushner told him you've got to back Luther Strange, which seemed like the strangest choice of all, to back the candidate backed by Mitch McConnell, who'd been very much a thorn in the president's side.
Yes, there is this whole idea, and unfortunately, Trump is being brought down by it. That we're new in Washington, we don't know anything about politics, so let's just turn our entire Trump agenda over to Paul Ryan in the House and Mitch McConnell in the Senate.
God.
Well, look at what's happening. They're leading Trump to defeat after defeat, and meanwhile, his base. We're waiting. We're enthusiastic. We're hoping he'll still come through. And, oh, my gosh, there's time. But there isn't a lot of time left, and he's not doing it.
Her latest book is In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. She is Ann Coulter. And, Ann, thank you very much. And if I don't talk to you before then, have a wonderful Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Lars Larson.
Thank you very much to Ann Coulter.